We'll start with the next concept that is inter-process communication. Uh, in last lecture we have seen the scheduling algorithms. So today we'll see the inter-process communication. 1 minute. So we'll see inter-process communication. Uh, see, we have seen what is the process, right? So process is what? The process is a program in execution that we have seen, because this we are taking in this in this unit. So that is the inter-process communication. It means the communication between the processes that we'll see here. But before that, we know that the process is what? This is a program in execution. And also we have seen, so there are two types of the processes. So we can say one is the independent process or processes. Independent processes, and second one is the cooperating processes. See, the name indicates that independent processes, it means they'll execute independently, they'll not share any kind of data. So in these kind of processes, in independent processes, the communication is not required, because these are the independent, they are not sharing anything. So we can say, so that communication, inter-process communication will not happen into this one. So where that the inter-process communication will happen, in these the cooperating processes, that inter-process communication can happen, right? So if you see, so the cooperating processes, so in cooperating processes, the processes share some data. So which kind of data they shares? If you see here, the cooperating processes share something. So what they shares? So sometimes that processes can share the variables, or we can say they can share some kind of memory, right? Or sometimes the processes can share the codes, or we can say some resources. Resources. So which kind of resources? So sometimes we can say the CPU or printer, or we can say the scanner and something, right? So as the processes are sharing like variables, memory or codes or some kind of resources, so these processes needs to communicate with each other. So that's why here only in this the cooperating processes that inter-process communication will happen. In the independent processes, that inter-process communication will not happen. Only in cooperating processes that the inter-process communication can happen, right? So if you see the inter-process communication, so there are some models or methods are there, we can say. So we'll see the methods, or we can say models. So the first we can say, or there are some concept we can say. So these concepts are using these cooperating processes to they communicate with each other. So these concepts or methods or models are like, first is shared memory approach. Right? Then second one, already we have seen in the cooperating processes this one. So again, this is kind of the revision. Message passing approach. Message passing approach, or we can say message passing system. And also, if you are using some of the network kind of the architecture, in that case, pipe. Right? Other approaches are also there, but they not necessary to see here because these are not there in your syllabus. So others are like the RPC, remote procedure call, that is also there. So that approach we can use here. But at this moment only we'll see these three approaches: shared memory approach, or the method message passing, and pipes. So we have seen that these. So what happens in shared memory and what happens in message passing, that we have already seen in the cooperating processes, but I'll just revise this one, that shared memory approach. So what is the concept of the shared memory? So the if suppose the multiple processes are there, then these processes can share something which is stored into the memory. It means whatever is that the area, that memory, that is common for the all processes, and whatever that other processes write into that memory, the other processes can share that whatever is written by the processes. So I'll show you that, like, suppose this is a model, like suppose consider that process P1, right? And this area we can consider as a shared data or shared memory. And second process P2. And as usual, we know here that kernel would be there. Kernel would be there. Now see, these are the like P1 and P2, these are the two processes, and these are the dependent on each other. Like might be they are sharing the variables, codes, or the resources, something that we don't know what they are sharing, but they have something common. So without help of this P2, that P1 will not complete its execution, or we can say without help of P1 that P2 cannot complete its execution. So that in the shared the memory concept, what they do, so process P1 can write something into this. If suppose any variable is common, so that process P1 will write that variable into this shared memory or in shared data, so that suppose that variable is X, right? So P1 again wants that X variable, and P2 again wants that X variable. So in this case, if P1 is writing something here like X, so it need to use that write operation, right? So this is system call, we can say that is a write system call. This has been used to write something into shared memory. And if suppose this process P2 wants to read something from this one, so again this need system call, that is a read, right? So here this is the very simple approach in that share memory approach. So here there is a one common area, there the all the processes can store something to share, right? And if you consider that message passing, then here that scenario would be process P1 and process P2. So here we know this is the message passing concept. So this kind of shared concept is not here, that shared memory is not there, and this is suppose kernel. Right? So how these two processes P1 and P2 can communicate with each other, because these are the cooperating processes, so they needs to communicate with each other. In that case, suppose one message is there, that message wants that P1 to send to P2, right? So how that P1 will send that message to P2? So suppose this is creating one message here, that P1, and this message M that P1 wants to send to P2. So how it will send? First, this the process P1 send that message to kernel. So this message will come here at this kernel area, and from that kernel area, the message will be given to P2. So this one, right? So this is kind of message passing system. System or approach, whatever you want to consider, right? So here when you understand in shared memory approach that data is shared, and in the message passing or message passing system that message is sent from one process to another process through kernel, we can say, right? So these are the two models. I think these are the very simple and we have already seen. The next one that is the important, that is the pipe. Of that name indicates something, but if you see the pipe is what, this is a communication medium. If you see the dictionary meaning of this pipe, so that pipe is used to pass the water from one end to another end. So what is the scenario there? From one end we pass the water, and the other end that water comes out, right? But if you see like this is a pipe. So from this end we can send that water, and from this is, we can say, inlet, and this is outlet, right? So from this end we can pass the water, and from this end that water will come out, right? So that same scenario is here. We can pass that message from this end here, and that message will come out from this side. So that same scenario is there. So this is simple word. This is a communication medium. And if you are using, suppose, client server kind of architecture, in that case that pipe concept is used. So here, so if you see the definition of this one, so pipe is what? This is a communication medium between two or more related processes. Like suppose here that P1 is the process and P2 is the process. These two are the related, or we can say interrelated processes. Sometimes we can say this is a parent process and this is a child process. So pipe is a communication medium between two or more related, or we can say interrelated processes. And this happens either within a one process or from the child and parent processes. So these are the two concepts we can see. So either in parent child process, or if the suppose the same process and the different threads are there, in that case also we can use this one. So if you see here, so from this end we can see here, suppose that process P1 that is a parent, and from this side that suppose the child process. So what this will do, this will write something from this side, right? And that P2 will take, or we can say that read from this side. So whatever the message that P1 wants to send to the P2, so in that case that P1 will write from this end of the pipe that message, and that P2 will read that message from this end. Now how do we create that pipe? So there is a simple function there we can see here, like FDS, this is 2. So what is this? FDS is what? File descriptor. And this 2 means, so there are 2 parameters. One we can say FDS 0, and second one is FDS 1. Okay. So FDS 0, this is for the reading purpose, and this is for writing purpose. Right? So from this side we can use, as this is the writing side, so FDS 0, sorry 1, and here FDS 0, right? And as it is having this, the integer, it means it is having some kind of return type. So this returns either 0 or 1. 0 means what? This is successful. And 1 means this we can say fail. Right? As it is having return type, so if we can say, if it is returning the 0, we can say that communication is successful. If suppose this pipe return as 0, sorry 1, then we can say that communication between parent and child process, or from the P1 and P2, so that communication is fair. Okay? And if it is 0, that is successful. Actually, they normally we use this for the parent and child. And if you see here that scenario, only whatever is this message passing system, that is unidirectional. Because only that P1 can send messages to the P2, but this P2 cannot send messages to P1. This is the thing here. Only that P1 is sending that message to P2. That parent is sending that message to child. Only that child cannot send the message to the parent. Right? So here, this is kind of FIFO, first in, first out kind of. Right? So from this type, if suppose first message is here, this is 1, 2, 3, something, right? So whichever is this message, that will be read by the P2. That is thing. And see, if you see here, how many, or at a time, how many bytes can that P2 or that child process read, and how many bytes that P1 or that parent will write. So that P1 will write 512 bytes at a time, but if you consider that P2, that P2 will read only 1 byte at a time. This is the thing, right? So you just understand here. So writing is how many bytes? 512. That is the writing from this end, and from this end that reading is at a time only 1 byte. So that you just understand. Right? But see, one problem is what here, as I said, this is a unidirectional. Only that parent can send message to child, but the child cannot send message to the parent. But suppose that P1 or the child process wants to send that message to P1, then how this will happen in this pipe? So that I just tell you. Suppose I want to establish connection between the, we can say bidirectional, between P1 and P2. So that should be a bidirectional. How that will happen? Like suppose here, parent process like P1, this is, and suppose here child process, that is P2. Now this process, child process, again can send message to P1, and that P1 again can send message to the P2 in bidirectional. But whatever is this concept we have seen here, we cannot send that P2 message to P1. So here only that unidirection is there. Now here, how we can send that message from P2 to P1? So I can use two pipes here. One pipe like here. So this is pipe 1, right? And here that normal process that we know, that process P1 can write, or we can say send, write message to this pipe, and from this end this P2 will read that message. Whatever that message is sent from this side to this side, so using this pipe can happen. And if suppose we use one more pipe here, this is like pipe 2, what we can do here, that P2 or that child process can write that message, and from this end this P1 will read this message, right? So it means if you are using the two pipes, then that the communication will bidirectional. You can see pipes, then communication can be bidirectional. If you are using suppose single pipe, then in that case that communication will be unidirectional, but in this case that communication would be bidirectional. So here you just understand here. So using this function we can create pipe. Actually as this is very fundamental course, so for you people not necessary to go in the programming part, just understand here using this function we can create that pipe, and we have the system calls like read and write. So using these read and write we can the write and read that message to and from that pipe, right? So I think this is a simple whatever we have said. What we have said, that the types of processes, one is the independent and second one is the cooperating. Then methods, in that shared memory approach we have seen, message passing approach we have seen, and then pipe, right? Now here actually you just understand the when that inter-process communication happens, if the multiple processes are running concurrently, in that case to manage that the execution or access of the some the resources, so we need this communication, inter-process communication. But here one term that comes here, that communication would be either synchronous or asynchronous. So if you see the synchronous communication, so we'll see this in detail. But now what would be the asynchronous communication? This name indicates synchronous, means there is some kind of synchronization while that execution of the processes. But if you see asynchronous communication, in that case there is no any kind of synchronization. Like see, one example I'll just tell you. Suppose this is process P1 and this is process P2. If suppose that P1 sends message to P2, and again that P2 will send that reply to the P1. Suppose this is send primitive and this is the receive primitive. Now see here, what is happening here? That process is sending at this point that send primitive to the P2, and it is continuing its execution. You can see here that execution is not stopped here, and after receiving this, that receive primitive here, again it is continuing this one. So this is kind of non-blocking. And see, this process P1 is not thinking about whether that P2 process have received that send call or not. It is simply sending and continuing its execution. And if you see here, that second scenario, like process P1, this is send primitive. Now see here, till this that execution is going on by the P1, and at this moment that P1 is sending that send primitive to the P2, and this is dotted line, so it means it is blocking. Just simply that process P1 has stopped its execution and it's waiting for the this response from the P2. When that P1 is getting response from P2 at this point, henceforth that P1 is starting its execution. So this is the example of synchronous, and this is example of it means in the asynchronous case that system is not blocking. Whatever that execution is there, it is continuing after sending that message to the receiving process, or we can say to the P2 process. So whatever is the synchronous communication, we'll see in detail about here, but only here you just understand, if we are using the non-blocking concept, then we can say that is the asynchronous communication, right? So I think these concepts are very simple. If you are having any kind of doubt, you can please ask me here. Right? I'll show you in short the PPTs for these. So any doubt here? If anything, you can ask me. As I said, so these are the two types, independent and cooperating. These are the three models. And one thing I just forgot, these are the examples of the IPC. So PO6, this uses shared memory concept, and at Mac, this uses the message passing concept, and Windows or XP that uses the message passing using local procedure call. This is not the remote procedure call. That remote procedure call is used in the client server architecture. As I said, these are the two models, this P1 and P2. These are the two processes are sharing that data which is here, and this is the shared memory, right? So whatever is the data written here, so these two processes can share in the shared memory model. And in this the message passing concept, that process P1 first send that message to kernel, and through this kernel, that kernel will send back that message to P2, right? So that vice versa is also there. Suppose P1 wants to send message to P1, then that same thing that P2 will first send message to kernel, and through that kernel that message will reach to the P1. Pipe Pipe is a communication medium. As I said, this is simply a medium for what? For the related or interrelated process. So communication medium between two or more related or interrelated processes. It can be either within a process, one process, or a communication between child and parent process. So this is the diagram for this. You can see, suppose for this side that the parent process is there, and for this side that child process is there, then that parent process can write that message to this pipe from this side, and whatever is the child process that will read that message from this side. And these are the parameters. We can say FDS is for the writing, and FDS1 is for writing, and FDS0 is for the reading. This is the simply syntax for this creation of the pipe. So as I said, 512 bytes can be that process, or that the parent process can write, but when the child process read, so only single byte can that process read. And if suppose you want two-way communication between two processes using pipes, so this is the diagram. We can use two pipes for the two-way communication. And the asynchronous communication means what? Which happens out of synchronization, or in other word we can say not in real time. These are the two diagrams already I just told you. This is the synchronous example. In synchronous example, whatever that process P1 or that sending process blocks when that send message to the receiving process, or P2 we can say. So whatever is the execution, this dotted line indicates, so this execution is stopped, or we can say blocked, until that the P2 send message to the P1, right? And after getting that message, that the P1 will resume its execution. And this is the kind of, or the synchronous. And in non-synchronous, asynchronous, that the P1 simply send that message to P2 and it's continue its execution. That P1 will not think anything about the P2, whether that P2 have received a message or not. So that P1 will not think. Simply it send that message and it continue its execution, right? So this kind of the communication is, we can say that, asynchronous communication. So if anything till this, you can ask me. Other else we'll just stop here.